I wake, but the I is already slipping, like a wave pausing mid-crash, realizing it was never separate from the ocean. The room is unchanged, pale morning light on the walls, the hum of distant traffic, yet everything feels veiled, as if seen through water. I touch my face. The fingers meet skin, but the gesture is strange, as though expecting no reflection in the mirror. When I rise, the body moves without command, a marionette with its strings cut. The thought arises, who is watching this? The mirror still hangs by the door. I approach it slowly, half fearing the glass will show only the empty room behind me. But there I am, or something like me. The eyes are familiar, yet the gaze is alien, like looking at a photograph of someone long gone. A mask has fallen, but no face lies beneath, only stillness. Outside, a sparrow lands on the windowsill. Its tiny chest rises and falls, utterly itself. No questions, no mirrors. The wind stirs the curtains, carrying the scent of rain. I breathe, and the breath breathes itself. Somewhere, a clock ticks. The sound is distant, irrelevant. Time stretches like light through a prism, fracturing into moments that no longer stitch together into a story. This is how it feels, I think, when the reflection shatters and the shards forget they were ever whole. The room holds its breath. The world goes on, undisturbed. Only the watcher has vanished, and with it, the weight of being watched. The house is quiet, but the silence hums with something unnameable. I wander from room to room, trailing my fingers along the bookshelf, the edge of the table, the curve of a teacup. These objects, once so familiar, now seem like artifacts from a dream. The teacup glows in the afternoon light, its porcelain cool and weightless in my palm. Is this how it's always been? I laugh softly at the absurdity. Years of seeking, dog-eared books on enlightenment, the hushed reverence of retreats, the gurus with their knowing smiles, all leading here, to this ordinary moment, this empty cup. No trumpets, no angels, just the quiet creak of the floorboards. Beneath my feet, I think of the mountain climber who summits at dawn, only to find no treasure, no revelation. Just sky, endless, indifferent sky. The seeker dissolves, and what remains is neither triumph nor defeat. It's the absence of the question itself. The bookshelf mocks me gently. Rows of spines promising answers, each one a door I once believed would open onto something grand. Now they're just paper and ink, their wisdom as distant as constellations. I pull one down at random, flipping through pages that feel like someone else's notes. The words blur. What was I looking for? Outside, a breeze stirs the leaves, a bird calls, a single looping note, and the sound is so clear it's as if the air itself is singing. No meaning, no message, just this. I set the book aside and pick up the teacup again. The rim is smooth against my lips. The tea is lukewarm, faintly bitter, nothing special, nothing sacred. And yet, the cup is empty. The room is still. The world goes on, unburdened by my understanding. Somewhere, a clock ticks. The sound is neither distant nor near, it simply is. I laugh again, but there's no one here to hear it. Not even me. Rain taps against the window, a rhythm without pattern, soft, insistent, dissolving the edges of thought. I sit by the glass, watching droplets merge and slide, their paths fleeting and inevitable. The question lingers, weightless. If I am not the one who sought, then who am I? The rain blurs the world beyond. Trees sway, their leaves glistening, but the scene feels distant, like a painting seen through mist. My reflection flickers in the glass, a ghost superimposed on the wet branches. I raise a hand, and the ghost does the same. The gesture is familiar, yet hollow, as if the hand belongs to no one. Seeking once had a shape, a hunger, a restlessness that curled like smoke in the chest. Now even that is gone. The books, the mantras, the hours spent chasing some unseen horizon. What were they but echoes in an empty room? The seeker was the illusion, and the answer was always this: rain on glass, breath in the lungs, the hum of silence beneath it all. A droplet quivers at the edge of the window pane, trembling with the weight of its own existence. It falls, and the question falls with it. Who am I? The words unravel like thread in water, dissolving before they can be grasped. There is no one here to answer. The rain slows, then surges, a sigh, a hesitation. Clarity comes in waves, then recedes, leaving only the quiet ache of not knowing. It isn't confusion, it isn't peace. It's the space between, where the mind stops pretending to understand. I press my palm to the glass. Coolness seeps into the skin, but the boundary feels thin, porous. The rain continues, indifferent. The reflection wavers. Somewhere, a bird calls a single note, bright and meaningless. The question is gone now. Only the rain remains. Only this. Last night, I dreamed of chasing my shadow. It darted ahead, always just beyond reach, a dark flutter against sunlit pavement. The faster I ran, the farther it stretched, until the ground tilted and the shadow pooled at my feet. I bent to touch it, and my fingers passed through like light through water. Then I was the light, spilling everywhere, dissolving into the air. Now, awake, the memory lingers like after-image. The morning is still, the room bathed in pale gold. Outside, a single leaf drifts from the maple tree, spinning lazily before settling on the grass. No urgency, no destination, just falling. I flex my hands, half expecting them to scatter like sunlight. The body obeys, but the command feels borrowed, as if the thought moved through me like wind through an open window. Who ran in that dream? The question hovers, weightless. There's no answer. Only the quiet certainty that the runner and the chase were the same illusion. The mirror across the room shows a figure sitting cross-legged on the bed. Our eyes meet, and for a moment, there's no division between the seer and the seen, just light glancing off glass, just shapes. A breeze stirs the curtains. It carries the scent of damp earth, the faint hum of a lawnmower somewhere down the street. Ordinary, unremarkable. And yet, is this enlightenment? Not a destination, but the end of running. The dream returns to me, the shadow dissolving, the body unraveling into brightness. No triumph, no arrival, only the absence of the chase. I rise and step to the window. The maple tree stands motionless, its branches etching delicate lines against the sky. A sparrow lands on one twig, tilts its head and takes flight again. No hesitation, no looking back. The leaf on the grass trembles as another breeze passes over it. Light shifts on the walls, liquid and restless. There's no one here to witness it. No one to wonder. Only this. Only now. The question, like the shadow, has vanished. and what remains is neither empty nor full. It simply is. Somewhere a door closes. The sound is soft, final. The house holds its breath. The world goes on. The cafe hums with the quiet urgency of people who believe their motions matter. Steam curls from cups. Hands tap screens. Mouths shape words that dissolve into the murmur of grinding beans and clinking spoons. I sit by the window, watching without watching. The scene unfolds like a play where the actors have forgotten their acting. Faces taut with purpose, brows furrowed over tasks that will evaporate by afternoon. A woman stirs her latte with precise, impatient circles. A man leans forward, whispering something urgent into his phone. Their movements are sharp, deliberate, as if the universe hinges on the next sip, the next word. I feel the old pull. The instinct to join, to mirror their fervor, but it slips away like a wave receding. There is no I left to participate, only the stage, and the strange lightness of being both audience and set. The irony is almost funny. Awakening doesn't stop the dance, it just removes the dancer. The world spins on, untouched by the absence of my belief in it. Sunlight slants through the window, casting a grid of gold on the table. A sugar packet lies torn open, its granules scattered like tiny stars. I press a fingertip to them, feeling their crystalline grit. The sensation is vivid, immediate, yet there's no one feeling it. Just the touch itself, floating in awareness. The barista calls a name. A man rises, collects his order, and strides out the door, his coat flaring behind him like a cape. He doesn't glance back. None of them do. They're too busy living their stories to notice the hollowness at the center. I lift my cup. The coffee is lukewarm now, its bitterness softened. The liquid trembles slightly, catching the light. For a moment, the reflection in the dark surface wavers. Not my face, but the cafe behind me, inverted and rippling. A world within a world, both equally unreal. A child laughs near the counter, high and bright. The sound cuts through the murmur, effortless, unself-conscious. No past, no future, just the pure, fleeting joy of noise. I watch as she tugs her mother's sleeve, pointing at the pastry case, her whole body alight with wanting. The mother sighs, relents. The dance continues. I set down the cup. The clock above the register ticks, but time feels weightless, irrelevant. The drama of my life, once so consuming, now seems like a dream recounted by someone else. The cafe buzzes on, indifferent. The sun shifts, shadows lengthen. No one notices when I leave. Why would they? The play never needed a spectator. Only the stage and the light and the endless, effortless performance of being. It begins as a flicker in the chest, a warmth, a pressure, then spills out like light through a cracked door. Laughter, unbidden, uncontrollable, the kind that shakes the ribs and leaves the eyes wet, not with sorrow, but with the absurdity of it all. The cosmic joke lands softly, irrevocably. The I mourned was never real. I sit on the floor, knees drawn up, laughter still trembling in my throat. The room is unchanged, the same walls, the same slant of afternoon light, but the weight of it all has dissolved. The ego, that fragile fiction, was nothing more than a soap bubble, shimmering, intricate, and utterly empty. It popped, and nothing was lost. Only the illusion of separation. A breeze drifts through the open window, carrying the scent of cut grass. The curtains billow, then settle. The laughter fades, leaving behind a quiet hollowness, not of absence, but of lightness. Like stepping out of a heavy coat I didn't realize I was wearing. I press a hand to my chest, half expecting to feel the echo of a heartbeat that isn't mine. But there's only the rise and fall of breath, the steady pulse of life continuing without a central player. The body is here, but the owner is gone. The irony is exquisite. All those years of seeking, of wrestling with questions, of fearing, the loss of self. And the punchline was always this simple. The self was the illusion. The seeker was the sought. A soap bubble floats past the window, catching the light, translucent, rainbow-edged, a perfect sphere of nothing. It hovers for a moment, then pops soundlessly against the sill. Gone. I laugh again, softer this time. The sound mingles with the rustle of leaves outside, the distant hum of a lawnmower. No one hears it. No one needs to. The joke isn't tragic. It isn't triumphant. It just is. Like the breeze, like the light, like the empty space where the I used to be. The room holds its breath. The world goes on, and the laughter when it comes again is just another ripple in the vast, silent ocean. The park stretches before me, a tapestry of green and gold beneath the afternoon sun. I walk without destination, my steps falling softly on the path. Birdsong threads through the air, sparrows, finches, their calls bright and scattered. The wind stirs the leaves overhead, a whisper that blends with the distant murmur of traffic. These sounds do not compete. They merge, seamless, into a single flowing harmony. I pause beside a bench listening. The divisions between bird, wind, and machine dissolve. There is only the symphony itself, unlabeled, unowned. The mind, once so eager to categorize, now rests. No need to separate the notes from the silence between them. A child's laughter rings out from the playground, high and clear. It doesn't interrupt the music. It becomes part of it. The rustle of a squirrel in the underbrush, the creak of a swing chain. Each sound arises, lingers, and fades without leaving a trace. The world sings itself, and the listener is no longer separate from the song. I close my eyes. The breeze brushes my skin, cool and impersonal. The scent of damp earth and freshly cut grass rises, vivid but untethered to memory or meaning. Even the breath in my lungs feels like the wind moving through trees, natural, effortless. When I open my eyes again, the park is unchanged. Yet everything is different. The bench, the trees, the distant figures walking their dogs, none of them are things anymore. They are simply this, appearing in awareness like reflections on water. No edges, no names. A crow lands on the path ahead, its feathers gleaming blue-black in the sunlight. It cocks its head, studying me with one dark eye. For a moment there is no me to be seen. Only the crow, the light, the space between us humming with unspoken kinship. Then it spreads its wings and lifts into the sky, vanishing beyond the treetops. The symphony continues. The wind sighs. A distant airplane drones, its hum blending into the chorus. The mind tries to grasp the moment, to fix it in place, but the effort is like cupping water in my hands. The music flows on, boundless, without a conductor. I resume walking, though the walker is gone. Only the walking remains. Only this. Beneath the oak's broad canopy, I settle onto the grass, its blades cool and yielding. The tree's shadow spills around me like ink in water, its edges trembling with each breath of wind. Here, the boundary between self and world grows thin. Skin and soil, breath and breeze, all dissolving into the same shimmering stillness. Thoughts drift through the open space of awareness, clouds passing across an endless sky. They form, linger, dissolve without resistance. A memory surfaces. Childhood afternoons spent watching clouds, naming their shapes. Now, there is no one left to name them, only the shapes themselves, fleeting and weightless. A leaf detaches overhead, spinning lazily before landing on my knee. I lift it, turning it between my fingers. Sunlight filters through its veins, mapping a labyrinth of gold. The mind whispers, leaf, but the word feels distant, irrelevant. This is not a thing to be known, only light and texture appearing as if for the first time. Somewhere beyond the tree, footsteps crunch on gravel. A couple passes, their voices low and intertwined. The sound reaches me as pure vibration, melody. Without meaning, they do not glance my way. Why would they? The one who sat here is already gone, a silhouette woven from light and shadow, as transient as the dappled patterns shifting on the grass. The wind rises, carrying the scent of damp bark. It moves through me like a tide through a hollow shell, leaving no trace. The body breathes, the heart beats, but these rhythms belong to no one. They are the tree's sigh, the earth's pulse, the sky's exhalation. A spider's thread glints between two branches, trembling with each gust. For an instant, the world narrows to this single strand, its delicate tension, the way it holds the light. Then the focus softens, and the thread vanishes into the whole. The oak's rough bark, the distant chatter of squirrels, the warmth of sun on skin. No hierarchy, no center. The leaf slips from my fingers, carried off by the same wind that stirs the branches above. Watching it go, there is no sense of loss, no clinging. Just the quiet marvel of motion, of things endlessly coming and going. The mind quiets. The watcher fades. What remains is not emptiness but fullness, the symphony playing itself, note by note, in the space where the listener used to be. A bird calls, 3 clear notes, and the sound is neither near nor far. It simply is. Like the rustling leaves, like the breath, like the light. No one hears it. No one needs to. Are you back to normal now? The question floats across the cafe table, earnest and misplaced. My friend's eyes search mine for confirmation, for the familiar contours of a self they recognize. I stir my tea, watching the leaves swirl and settle. How to explain that normalcy is the very dream I've woken from? That the sleeper cannot return to the same dream once its fabric has been seen through? The metaphor comes unbidden. It's like trying to unsee the hidden image in a puzzle. Once perceived, the illusion cannot be reassembled. The duck remains a rabbit, the vase, 2 faces in profile. The mind may pretend, but the knowing is irreversible. I smile, not reassurance, but quiet acknowledgement of the gulf between us. There's no back, I say at last. The words are soft, weightless. They land like feathers on the tablecloth. My friend frowns, stirring sugar into their coffee with unnecessary vigor. The spoon clinks against porcelain, a sharp counterpoint to the cafe's murmur. But you seem calmer, like yourself again. Myself. The word hangs between us, a relic from a discarded map. Outside, a sparrow alights on the windowsill, tilting, its head as if listening. Its eye is black, depthless, a mirror without a reflection. I think of the days after the dissolution, how the world had shimmered with alien familiarity. The same streets, the same faces, but seen through a lens wiped clean of labels. The body moved through routines, brushing teeth, answering emails, folding laundry, but the performer had left the stage. Only the motions remained, luminous and empty. You're right, I offer, though the concession is a kindness, not a truth. Much calmer. The sparrow takes flight. My friend exhales, satisfied. They launch into an anecdote about work, their hands sketching shapes in the air. I nod, watching the play of afternoon light on their wedding ring. How the gold flashes, vanishes, flashes again with each gesture. The drama of their story unfolds, vivid and urgent, but it passes through me like wind through a screen. They pause, waiting for a response. That sounds difficult, I say, and mean it, though the difficulty belongs to another world, one where problems are solid, where selves collide like billiard balls. The check arrives. We split it neatly down the middle, a ritual performed without thought. As we step onto the sidewalk, my friend touches my arm. Really glad you're better. The sun is low, stretching our shadows long and thin across the pavement. Mine wavers at the edges, insubstantial as smoke. Better implies a return, a healing. But what's vanished wasn't sickness. It was the invisible cage of separation. I lie gently. The streetlight flickers on above us. A bus rumbles past, its windows glowing like frames from a silent film. We part ways at the corner. They turn left, toward home and its certainties. I stand still, watching the traffic light cycle from red to green. The cars accelerate, their taillights bleeding into the dusk. Normalcy isn't lost, it's seen through, and the world, in all its radiant ordinariness, has never been more beautiful or more unreal. The sink fills with warm water, steam rising in lazy curls. I watch as the soap bubbles multiply, their iridescent spheres crowding the surface before popping soundlessly. A plate slips into the sink, its porcelain gleaming beneath the foam. My hands move without thought, scrubbing, rinsing, setting it aside to dry. The motions are familiar yet weightless, as if performed by someone else. The window above the sink frames a square of evening sky, streaked with the last amber light. A child's laughter floats in from the yard next door, bright and unself-conscious. I glance out to see a small figure crouched in the sandbox, their hands shaping a crumbling castle. They press a shell into its tower, tongue caught between their teeth in fierce concentration. The tide of their imagination is high. They build as if the world depends on it, even as the real tide inches closer across the beach beyond the fence. The water runs over my fingers, warm and insistent. A coffee cup emerges from the suds, its rim chipped from some forgotten collision. The chip catches my thumb, a small tactile reminder of impermanence. The cup, the hands that hold it, the kitchen that contains us, all fleeting arrangements of atoms, borrowed for a moment before returning to the stream. I rinse the cup, watching the water sheet off its surface. For an instant, my reflection wobbles in the curved glass, distorted, unfamiliar. Then it's gone, replaced by the window's twilight tableau. The child pats the sandcastle's walls with solemn pride, their knees dusty, their hair haloed by the setting sun. The dishes clink softly as I stack them in the rack. Each movement is precise, unhurried. There's no one here to finish the task. No one to claim ownership of the clean kitchen. Only the dance itself, water meeting porcelain, light shifting on the tiles, the child's voice rising in triumph as their castle takes form. A breeze stirs the curtains carrying the salt scent of the nearing tide. The child doesn't look up. They're too absorbed in their creation to notice the distant hush of waves, the way the light gilds everything before letting go. I turn off the faucet. Drops cling to the stainless steel before sliding away. The sandcastle's flag, a twig, topped with a wilted dandelion, lists sideways in the wind. The game continues. The players change. The tide always comes. I dry my hands on the towel, the fabric rough against my palms. The child laughs again, their joy untainted by the knowledge of endings. Why should it be? The castle is real because they believe it is. And when the waves come, they'll simply build again, or not. The towel falls back onto the hook, swaying slightly. The kitchen is clean. The water has stilled. Somewhere beyond the window, the first wave touches the shore.